I'm Kyra Steiner, and you're listening to Elaborate with K. Elaborate with K. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Elaborate with K. Okay, so today's episode, we're going to be talking about insecurities and how the media over time has kind of developed and changed our sense of being insecure and how we perceive ourselves. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so back when I was in high school, I did a project for one of my classes about the evolution of fashion and beauty standards. And I did look at 100 years worth of like beauty standards and starting from the 1920s and going all the way up to 2020. And I kind of just researched and looked at the ideal body type for women and the beauty standards of each decade for the time, so starting in the 1920s, and you can see the evolution of just how women were expected to look. And obviously not everyone is going to look like the ideal body standard or anything, but it was just kind of looking at the women that were idolized and depicted and just like talked about a lot throughout history. And I thought that was honestly a really interesting project to do. It was truly one of my favorite things to look at because I don't know, it was just really cool to be able to see all of the different stories, and I looked at different artworks of sculptures, paintings, drawings, and then going through and looking at magazines, and even just looking at wording and how people would describe themselves or how they would describe other people and talk about the women that were kind of at this ideal stage and idolized and all of that. I thought that was really interesting, and that is actually what brought on today's topic. Well, kind of. I know there was this trend on TikTok probably a few months ago now, by the time I'm recording this, or by the time this is going up. But I remember there was this trend on TikTok where people would be showing photos of themselves, and it would be just a regular photo of them, and then you would slide over, it'd be the next slide, and they would talk about something that they were insecure about in that photo, or something that they didn't like about that photo, and they were like, but you didn't see that, huh? And that was honestly a really interesting cool trend to kind of look at and decipher, because a lot of times it was stuff that I personally, as an audience member, as someone scrolling on TikTok, I wasn't paying attention to one eyebrow being slightly raised, or one arm being slightly more out than the other arm, or one leg being slightly bent, whatever it was. That's not what I was looking at. I was like, oh, this is a nice photo, oh, that's a pretty place, it's a pretty dress, it's a pretty outfit, pretty hair, whatever it was. I wasn't nitpicking and looking at every single thing. And so honestly, that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I think that here's my thing, is I think it's so easy nowadays for us to talk about social media and be like, oh, it's made everything so much worse. It's caused this problem, this problem, this problem. And yes, I agree. I do think that social media has caused a lot of problems in terms of our society, and just in terms of getting news and trustworthy sources and finding trustworthy sources and not just believing everything, and clickbait, and also dealing with perception and how we view each other and view other people. Whether that's me and you, regular everyday people, or influencers, or celebrities, or people in positions of power, whatever it is. I think that social media has definitely changed our perception of other people in the world. But I was thinking about this topic and thinking about what I wanted to say for this episode, and I thought about how a lot of body image, and I think insecurities, honestly, stem back further than the development of social media. I think it goes back to, like I said, we can date this back hundreds and hundreds of years if we really wanted to, but I think that I'm gonna start and just go back and look at the start of it from magazines and tabloids and paparazzi and everything. And so what I was thinking about was how you are your own greatest critic, and I'm pretty sure I've said that before, and I've heard it a bunch. But it's true. I think that no one is going to be as hard on yourself as you are on you. And whether that's because you know how hard you are working for something, or you know how hard that you want something, or you feel that you deserve it, all of your inner thoughts and feelings and actions and everything is something that only you have access to. And so it's going to be so much easier for you to be like really hard on yourself with whatever it is, because you know how hard you worked, how much effort and energy you put into it, and just all of that, which is a whole other topic, honestly. But I think that with that, we are really nitpicky. And I remember even like this was like years ago probably, but I remember a trend of people posting, and they would be posting like pictures, and they were like, oh, pictures that I liked until I stared at them a little too long and then started to hate everything. It's like, when you say a word so often, or like you say it repeatedly too much to where it starts to sound weird and it doesn't even sound like the word you were saying in the first place. That happens a lot with pictures and people looking at like pictures, videos, things, that anything that is like depicting themselves. And it's like, yes, obviously, especially with yourself, because that's the one person that I think that we all feel so comfortable being critical about is yourself, because it's you. Like, I feel like there's just not that sense of distance between it. Like, when you think of other people, you, as honest as you want to be, you try to protect their feelings, or you want to say nice things, or you want to make sure that you aren't hurting them in any type of way. And I think that we don't always give ourselves that same level of respect and recognition in terms of it. Like, I think that everyone, like I said, is just really hard on themselves, and it's so much easier to criticize yourself and your work and what you're doing because it belongs to you and you feel like you're just talking to yourself. But what I was going to say with that is that in terms of, like social media and insecurities and stuff, what I wanted to say is I promise you no one is looking that hard. Okay. And that's not to say like no one's looking, or that no one's caring, that no one cares, because obviously there are a lot of people that are looking out for you and care for you and want the best for you and all of that. But I don't think anyone is doing this, because I know that I've never done this. And I know a lot of other people that have never done this as well. But if I see a photo of someone, I'm not staring at that photo to try to figure out what is their biggest insecurity, or what is something that they don't feel comfortable with. Like, I'm looking at the photo and I'm looking at all of the good, beautiful parts of it, whether it's the background, the scenery, the person, a hairstyle, an outfit, like such whatever it is. I'm not looking for this negative. I'm not looking for an insecurity of your eyebrow being slightly darker or slightly too pointy or whatever it is. Like, I'm not looking for that, and I know that most of society isn't either. And I think that we can get really very much in our heads with that, and it is really hard to kind of differentiate that because of, like I said, because of the rise of social media, and obviously, comments in the public access to social media isn't always the nicest place to be, just because there are a lot of people that will hide behind a keyboard and a screen and say mean things that they don't necessarily mean, or that aren't necessarily true, but because they're not saying it to your face, or they're not saying it directly in person, they think that they can get away with it and that it's okay. And it's not. It's definitely not. But I think that just having such a high level of I don't know, just like negativity and criticism, whether it's on yourself or you're reading through comments of another video and they're talking about another creator or someone else or a person, a project, whatever it is. And I think that the thing that you have to realize is, whether it's a video or a project, someone put all of their time and energy into that. If it's specifically a person, someone not only put their time and energy into making the video and to putting themselves on camera, but they had the confidence to post it, and they're putting it out for people to enjoy and connect with and relate to, not for the purpose of, getting bullied, or for the purpose of kind of having different things pointed out to them. And I think that a lot of times too, within like, whether it's magazines and celebrities talking about how they did a photo shoot for a certain magazine cover or whatever, and they see the finished product and they've been photoshopped, or they've been airbrushed, or some part of their body has been edited in some way that they didn't disclose, or they didn't know prior to the photo shoot, or prior to the issue coming out, or whatever it is. And obviously that's a huge problem, and I think it's really damaging, because it can also cause people to develop insecurities and thoughts and negative thoughts and feelings about something that they weren't insecure about to begin with. Like you're pointing it out and you're saying this is bad or this isn't the look that we're going for. Like you're diminishing that person as a whole together. But yeah, so I kind of just, like I said, I wanted to talk about how no one is really looking. And I think that one of the best ways to deal with insecurity is looking at and finding things that make you comfortable and confident. I know for me, I think like something that makes me feel really good is having an outfit on that I really like, or picking out an outfit for the day that I enjoy. And so I've mentioned this in like my time management episode, and I think a few other ones. I pick out all of my outfits the night before, and I mean, it sounds really silly, but that can be hard sometimes because I technically don't know what kind of mood I'm going to be in tomorrow, So I can pick out my outfit, but when I wake up tomorrow and I'm getting dressed, that might not be exactly what I'm feeling. And I've definitely had that problem where I packed an outfit for me to change into after practice, before class, and I would like rush back here to change because I was like, I don't like that outfit, or, it just wasn't the vibe. It didn't match the weather. It didn't match whatever I was doing, or again, like I just didn't like it for that day. And as silly as it sounds, I definitely think that there is a big correlation with, feeling like you look good and then actually feeling good, right? So for me, like I feel so much better and I'm in a better, brighter mood when I like my outfit. And for some people, it could be when they have their favorite piece of jewelry on, or their favorite snack, or they're listening to their favorite music, or whatever it is. Take that thing that makes you feel so much better about yourself and that makes you feel so confident in who you are. Take advantage of that and just go for it, honestly. Try to incorporate it into your days or day-to-day life as much as possible, and don't bog down on the things that you are insecure about, because like I said, you are going to be your own harshest critic, and you're going to be the hardest person to please in your entire life. That's just how it is. And I think that harping on things that don't make you feel happy or confident are only going to make it worse. But I think that if you take the time to look at different things and look at and focus on things that make you happy, and then also spend a lot less time dedicated to picking yourself apart and looking at the negatives, and focusing more on the positives, like you're also going to feel a lot better by just reframing and restructuring, refocusing your mind and your thoughts and everything. But yes, that's what I wanted to talk about today, kind of just the influence of media on our insecurities and kind of how that's shaped our world a little bit. I know that this was a shorter episode. I'm sure there's so much more to talk about in this topic. So maybe I'll do a part 2 later on and just dive deeper into it, all of that. But yes, for now, thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of Elaborate with K. I'll talk to you next Sunday. Bye. And yeah, talk to you next Sunday.